Ryan Reynolds here for, I guess, my 100th Mint commercial. No. I mean, honestly, when I started this, I thought I only have to do like 4 of these. I mean, it's unlimited premium wireless for $15 a month. How are there still people paying 2 or 3 times that much? I'm sorry, I shouldn't be victim blaming here. Give it a try at mintmobile.com/save. Whenever you're ready.
$45 upfront payment equivalent to $15 per month. New customers on first 3-month plan only. Taxes and fees extra. Speed slower above 40 gigabytes. See details.
Hello and welcome to Audiobook Connection, behind the scenes with the creative teams. I'm Becky Parker Geist and I'm your host. Audiobook Connection is your place to learn about the audiobook creative process and for authors to learn valuable tips on producing and marketing your audiobooks. This podcast is sponsored by Pro Audio Voices, helping great stories come alive through audiobook production and marketing. Hi, thanks for joining me. I would like to invite you to wander down a path of thought with me today, and I'm thinking about impact. What impact we are having and how that impact is happening. It's something that I think about a fair amount because it is one of our core values at Pro Audio Voices, and we're always in that process of looking at how we can increase impact and what kind of impact are we having. So I thought I'd invite you to join me on this path of thought for today. As I think about impact for myself, there are several layers that I'm thinking about, and I'm going to stick with just the work context because there are obviously many, many different contexts in which we're having impact. But from a work perspective, I'm really looking primarily at 3 different areas where I feel like I am having an impact all the time, some kind of impact. And the first is with my team. Every interaction that I have with members of my team is going to have some kind of impact. And my goal is to have that be a positive impact, something that is going to help them feel empowered and supported and cared for and loved so that their feeling good will ripple out into their spheres of influence with the people in their lives. So that's one area where I am very mindful of the impact that I'm having, my interactions with them. Another level is with our clients, with our authors. And I think a lot about, what is their experience with us, with me? Are we providing that kind of support of their role, what they're trying to do in the world, their goals, and the impact that they're trying to have? And that's really a big part of our focus as a company. And then also that is a reflection of my own desire is to have a really positive impact in the world. And so we're always looking at the kinds of things that we expect may happen as a result of the work that we're doing. How can we change that? What kind of impact is that likely to be? So these are questions that come up all the time. And then that third sphere is our audience, the listeners of the audiobooks that we produce. And so we're thinking about what's their experience going to be like because we want that to be really positive. So again, that will ripple out into their world. So I'm always thinking about that ripple effect and the impact at the point of connection and interaction. So one of those things that I think about in terms of how the impact is happening, the first I've mentioned already a few times is my interactions with people. What are those interactions like? How can I help them be the best that they can be? Another is quality. And here I'm thinking especially about our authors and our audience in really creating a high quality finished product. If we think about from the audience perspective, if we have crappy audio, it's hard to listen to. That's not creating a good experience for anyone. That's an irritation and something that will make them, bring them down rather than lift them up. We could also look at quality in terms of like quality of interactions. That's where I'm like pulling those two things together and bringing them as one way of thinking about this whole experience of going through a day and making a difference in the world by just being who I am and by caring for the people around me and that I interact with. So I want to invite you at this moment to just take a moment to think about how you are having an impact in your world. What are the things that you're doing, the ways that you're being, the ways that you're choosing to be that are rippling out from where you are? And is that the kind of impact that you want to have? And if so, how might you make it even bigger? And if it is not, how might you change something so that it can morph more towards the direction that you would like to have, the kind of impact, the kind of response that you would like to have in your world? Let's take just a moment and we'll come right back and we're going to talk a little bit about intention and content.
What many non-fiction authors miss out on when getting their books into audio are the many ways to leverage the audiobook to drive traffic to their website in a natural way, a way that feels like a benefit to the listener rather than an intrusion and sales pitch. At Pro Audio Voices, we approach your project with a marketing perspective that is also very attentive to the listener experience, bringing together your intention and your audience in ways that encourage ongoing engagement. Learn more at proaudiovoices.com.
Okay, I want to take a moment now to think about our content, because this is a way in which we very obviously are trying to have an impact. The content, whether it's a fiction or nonfiction, doesn't matter. Either way, we're having some kind of impact. Sorry, I keep using that word because I don't really have another one that feels like it's really conveys the same feeling. So I'm going to try not to over-repeat it. But as we're thinking about what we're doing in the world and what's happening and the content that we're putting out, this is a place where we're obviously going to impact the people that listen or that read our content, that somehow take it in, right? And some of these could be the actual message that we are intentionally putting out there, and some of it might be less intentional. So let's talk a little bit about intention, right? When we, let's say, create a fiction story, we have a main plot line. We have characters that we've developed. What are the messages? What's the story telling us? What is it conveying? I'm reminded in this moment of a story, a wonderfully written book that we created the audio for, Silent Invasion, written by Chris Shakowitz. When I first read just the beginning of the story, it was disturbing content. It's a science fiction, but I found that, some of the content really made me uneasy. And that may just be because I'm a sensitive person and it wasn't it wasn't a genre that I would immediately be drawn to necessarily. That's not always true, but because I really do like sci-fi. But when I got a chance to actually talk with him and understand the purpose, like his intent behind writing that book, I was like, oh, I totally get it. Yes, let's do this project. It was really exciting. You have to understand that I hadn't read the whole book or I would have gotten that intent. So since I was just reading a little bit of it to just get a feel for it, I didn't have enough information, which was why I was asking him about it so I could better understand. And that was really powerful, and it really stuck with me, that experience. And then I think about a project like one that we're just wrapping up now called Good is the New Cool, Principles of Purpose by Afdel Aziz and Bobby Jones. And they are the founders of The Conspiracy of Love. It is a great book, very inspiring, and it's nonfiction. It's about companies that are making a difference in the world through their intention and their purpose. And here is a book where the intention and the impact is very clear, very strong, and really helping people to understand how we can grow and bring people together rather than continuing this divisiveness that we've been experiencing, certainly in the United States. And they're providing information and context that really shine a lot of light on positive things that are happening right now, which really helps to impact the world in a very positive way. I think it is really valuable to take the time to really evaluate what we want our impact to be, and then looking at the content that we're putting out and asking ourselves, is that accomplishing what we want? I think that's really important. And then the last piece of this path, as I meander down my thinking, is about then taking that impact and looking at how we can expand it. And some of that is through marketing, because the more people we reach, the more impact we can have, obviously. And it's also in looking at ways that we can continue the journey for your listeners, such that, we bring them to your website. We have something that's going to draw them there, whether it's a teaser for the first part of an interview with you as an author that then finishes, where they can see the whole thing on your website. That's a great bonus material. Or whether it's just letting them know where they can find out more about the work that you're doing, the books that you're putting out there, the message, whatever it is that you're trying to have an impact with, by considering how we can help your listeners grow with that ripple effect, the better. So that's the end of my meander today. I want to thank you so much for hanging out with me, and I am looking forward to doing a series of interviews with authors coming up where we can hear from them about the kinds of experiences that they've had in audiobook production and how they're using their audiobooks to have a greater impact in the world. Again, thanks for being with me. If you have any questions about audiobooks, you know where to find us, proaudiovoices.com. Have an awesome day. Thanks for joining us for Audiobook Connection, behind the scenes with the creative teams. Please take a moment to subscribe at audiobookconnection.com. The podcast is sponsored by Pro Audio Voices, helping great stories come alive through audiobook production and marketing. Learn more at proaudiovoices.com. Again, thanks for being with us, and please join us next week.
This podcast is a part of the C-Suite Radio Network. For more top business podcasts, visit c-suiteradio.com.